Namaste. Hello everyone. Alakananda here, Ayurvedic doctor and principal of Alandi Ayurveda Gurukula, and we have some interesting information to share with you today, especially helpful if you have fibromyalgia or if someone you love has been diagnosed with fibromyalgia. We want to hear about a very interesting new study. So there's actually been an enormous study. It's a meta-analysis, and it's called a genome-wide association study, and they looked at more than 2.5 million individuals from multiple countries. So it's just a really interesting way of approaching fibromyalgia. So for a long time, it was thought that fibromyalgia was a rheumatic disease and it was being treated by rheumatologists. That thinking is starting to change. Also, psychiatrists wanted to claim fibromyalgia as it's a psychiatric illness. It kind of implies people are not really sick. The study indicates that fibromyalgia, it's not that it's a psychological or psychiatric problem, but it doesn't look like it's an autoimmune problem. It looks like it actually is a brain disease. There are 26 genetic variants associated with fibromyalgia, and most of those genes are involved in brain and nerve function. So that's really important. It's how your body deals with pain. And interestingly enough, a gene that's also important in Huntington disease was affected in a different way in fibromyalgia. And other conditions like autism spectrum disorders, some types of ADHD also give a multisensory sensitivity, which is what we're really seeing with fibromyalgia. It's how the brain is processing the pain, and people with fibromyalgia are getting really big signals about pain that individuals that don't have that genetic condition from fibromyalgia are not getting. And that also explains a lot of the overlapping conditions. Many fibromyalgia patients also have irritable bowel syndrome. Irritable bowel syndrome used to be now it's understood as a disorder of the gut-brain axis. Again, it's how the gut and the brain are talking to each other and how the brain is processing the signals from the gut that is causing so much of the pain in irritable bowel syndrome. Similarly, in tension headache, in bladder pain syndrome, and also some forms of temporomandibular joint disorder. You may have temporomandibular joint disorder because, like me, you have hypermobility, and you can hear that sound. Maybe, I don't know if my mic can pick it up, but it just makes a horrible click because there's something actually physically wrong with the joint because of hypermobility. But for a lot of people, it's a temporomandibular pain disorder. Luckily, there isn't anything actually wrong with the joint, but it's how the brain is processing the pain. Same thing goes with a lot of low back pain syndromes. There are those of us, myself included, who have low back pain because something is actually wrong with our low back. In my case, the scoliosis and the hypermobility and everything. But there's also a huge amount of people who suffer with low back pain and nothing shows in an X-ray, CAT scan or MRI because there's nothing physically wrong with the back. Again, it's how the input from the back is being received by the brain. How does this tie in with Ayurveda? Sort of, I told you so, because for us, pain is vata. So pain is a vata problem, and pain is vata, vata is pain. Yes, how the brain processes. We agree with that. It just helps to explain why herbs like ashwagandha are so magical for fibromyalgia, because they're helping to calm the entire nervous system and reduce the intensity, the over intensity of that signal, so then we're not going to feel as much pain. So latest studies are validating how fibromyalgia is seen in Ayurveda as vata vyadhi, or a vata disorder that's going to be treated with the treatments of vata. And that's very important, because to treat rheumatic illnesses, because there's actual inflammation in the tissues, we're not going to use oil other than castor oil. To treat the vata conditions that are non-rheumatic, we are going to slather you with oil. We're going to use all kinds of Vastis or external oil treatments, and we're going to give you wonderful vata-soothing, pain-relieving herbs like ashwagandha. So we kind of knew all along, and the latest studies are validating how we in Ayurveda do see fibromyalgia as vata vyadhi. Hope this helps. Share this with your relative if you have a relative with fibromyalgia. And reach out. Ayurveda can help. Namaste.